Hello, Dareen, Particle Mindset Mentor and Behavioral Specialist, answering a question today from someone on Instagram who asked me to explain the connection between emotions and illness, and specifically related to Hashimoto's thyroiditis, an autoimmune disease which I was diagnosed with a while ago and have successfully reversed. Now, before I continue, I must add that I get very excited and I jump around a lot. Second of all, I'm not a doctor or a psychologist, so please make sure you get advice from your specific health providers. Thirdly, I talk with great confidence because this is all backed up by science and integrative medicine specialists. And fourthly, if you're hearing this for the first time, it could be confronting. So proceed with caution and maybe just an open mind. So, how does this play out? Emotions and illness or disease? Well, according to Dr. Gabor Mate, and I recently just did his Wisdom of Trauma course, which has given me great further understanding on the subject. So, according to him, which is quite a profound statement, is that in his years of working as a physician, an addiction specialist, and in palliative care, he noticed that every single patient with an illness, and this was virtually all the time, had connections to emotional trauma. All those that were presenting with diseases, with illness. And he says it's only like 0.01% of diseases that are actually genetic, that you can't do anything about in the DNA. So that is quite a profound statement. And it makes sense for me. So I'm going to explain my personal journey. I came into the world a very sensitive little girl, and sensitive people are more vulnerable. They just seem to be more of a sponge as to what's going on around them. So this was me. I come into the world, as we all do, with a legacy of programs and patterns and conditioning passed down through the ages from great grandparents. Things happened to them, and we now know that DNA expression changes accordingly and gets passed down to the next generation. Not to forget to mention that the research on epigenetics shows that this can all be changed, and hence how I've changed my diagnosis with faster EFT tapping. So I come into the world as sensitive little Dareen, and there is a certain stage that is set, and I respond accordingly. And I decide that it's not safe to be me, that I am different, that I need to please the people around me, in my family and beyond, and I behave accordingly. So I become the good girl. I don't trust myself. There are a few little incidents, things that happen that make me split off from myself, and I lose my authentic voice. And what happens is, of course, there's the indelible mind-body connection, and my body receives all these messages. So my nervous system goes onto high alert. If I am now hypervigilant, and when you're on high alert, your body's producing a lot of cortisol. It affects your every system in your body. And of course, the mind, the brain, is constantly sending messages. It's a two-way system between the brain and the immune system. And in fact, the emotional centers in the brain are connected with the nervous system. They're connected to the hormonal system, the adrenal system, the gut. So there is this highway of communication going on. And over time, I become little Darien at school that can't trust herself, that doesn't have the confidence to own who she is. So she keeps adapting herself. She's on high alert. She needs to please people. And it's a very ancient survival brain mechanism that you want to stay attached to the tribe. You didn't want to get left behind and starve. So there I am. I'm really playing this out, and it's playing out in my body. I do it as an adult. Who shall I be for the adults around me? Who shall I be for the friends around me? I'm suppressing emotions. I can't say no. And this is another big factor that integrative medicine specialists like Dr. Gabor Mate and Dr. Bessel van der Kolk have identified in people with particularly autoimmune disease, that these people are suppressing emotions. I think it also relates to cancer, and not having the ability to say no, which is basically to honor and trust yourself. So my body is producing cortisol for all these years. My immune system is being affected. And for me, it plays out as Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I did catch it in the early stages with just routine tests, so I never had to go onto medication. I also knew that I was looking after myself physically with diet and exercise, so it was definitely related to emotions, and you could say to small trauma. So just the way that my body had started to adapt to the signals my mind was sending it. And it is so profound. So if we look at some studies regarding mind-body connection, there's a Swedish study of pregnant women who were depressed that produced premature babies, and then Swedish women whose husbands were depressed who produced even more premature babies. And this study proved the fact that women are carers. They take on a lot of responsibility. They're concerned about their husbands, their children. And today, we live in a very individualistic society. So 2,000 years ago, when we were hunter-gatherers, there was more of a group dynamic where women received a lot of support. People helped with children. They weren't running out to have a career and run a house and be superwomen, super mothers like we can do today. So this is a cautionary tale for all women, because apparently 80% of women are affected by autoimmune diseases. Okay, so circling back to me, I go to, in my tapping sessions, just to give you an idea of how this works, how do I change it all? Well, lots of tapping sessions. I go back to all these occasions where I decided I wasn't good enough. So you create a whole belief system around yourself. At school, just struggling to say speeches. I couldn't trust what came out of my mouth. I was short of breath. Even as an adult, I couldn't string sentences together. I go back to all these memories of not being able to own my authenticity, and I adjust them. I tap down the emotions, all the fear, the not good enoughs, the not smart enoughs, whatever it was. I tap them all away and I replace them with empowering beliefs. I relive those memories in the most empowering way, where I can deliver speeches, where I'm talking and people are listening to me, where I am being myself. And the reason we do this is because in the hard drive of your mind, we call it the subconscious mind, the whole history of your life is sitting there. It's like a recorder. It's recorded everything. And the main function of the brain is to keep you safe and in alignment with all these recordings. So when we go and we change the recordings from the past, because now it really is just a recording, it's over and done with. Who wants to still be there living that? But you're left with this recording which the brain uses to alert you. So if I'm entering a room and there are a lot of people to impress, oh my goodness, my brain goes into smoke alarm effect. My amygdala goes whoosh, danger. My heart rate increases, da 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 da, da di da di da. And so I go in, I change all these things. Where I'm entering a room, I can see myself in sessions. It's an amazing process. I'm entering that room, I'm holding my own. I can talk to all those people. It's safe to be me. And when I've changed all these references from the past, and there will be a few really big key ones, my nervous system starts to relax. There's no danger, because now my hard drive is filled with empowering, confident references. I have so much proof in there now that I'm good to go. It's okay to be me. I can be quirky. I can have a funny accent. I can look different. I can be different. But boy, I belong here. And it's okay if no one wants to hear me either, because I now can hear myself. It's safe to be me in a whole new way. And this is the beauty of the healing modality that I use. I'm sure there are different ways to get to the same result, but that is basically how you go from allowing your emotions to change your physiology, and it's a subconscious thing. You don't wish this on yourself. And then taking back control, because life is so precious, and we want to be in that state of presence where we can really be here as creative beings, expressing ourselves, finding our purpose, living our best lives, because I believe that's what we truly are here to do. We're on a hero and a heroine's journey back to ourselves so that we can do good work in the